in my whip. That car driving make you feel some type of way. That custom brightly make you feel some type of way.
Alright, bros, broettes, YouTubers, welcome back for another episode of How to Do Shit. Today I will actually I've already done a retrofit on my Toyota 4Runner. For those of you who are looking to do it, I am actually going to have to take off. It's been about 2 years now since I've had the retrofit, and let me just say that I freaking love it. For those of you who are thinking about doing it, this project, if you go with some, I'd say decent quality stuff, I wouldn't say, you know, the most expensive things, or without cheaping out and getting those cheap China-made projectors that you see on like eBay for like 30 bucks. I went with the I can't even remember the name of it, or I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's the Morimoto's or whatever, from the Retrofit source here in Atlanta. Since I'm Georgia, I just drove up there. Since I'm in Georgia, I just drove up there. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna actually have to take off the passenger side again, because the shroud, I JB welded the shroud to the housing because that's what was recommended. But over time, with road, you know, vibration and bumps and stuff like that, it finally knocked the shroud loose. So as you can see, it's kind of hanging there a little bit. You know, kind of look like it's hanging a little bit compared to this side, where this side doesn't look like it's hanging at all. So I gotta take this off, the housing off, and I'm gonna show you how to do that, and then show you how to take the, well, in this case it's a projector, but I'll show you what you'll need to take out when you before you can take the projector out, before you can put the projector in, what you'll need to take out, which you can visibly see there's typically a reflective cone in there that sticks out. There's like 2 prongs that come out and attach to this reflective cone, and then and they're held in by 2 screws on the back side of the housing itself. So if you take out those 2 screws and push the legs together and push the cone in, it would fall inside the housing. And then you know, but you do that after you get the lens off, so it's not stuck in the housing. So tools you'll need for this project is, if you go with the projectors that I used, which was the Morimoto H4/D2S, yeah, the D2S ones, they actually slide right through the hole of the housing where the light bulb typically would slide through. They actually slide right through the hole, and then there's this locking ring that goes on, and then there's this nut that goes on as well right after the locking ring. You screw it on, tighten it down, you know, pretty good, and that's in. It's in. I'll show you what I'm talking about when I get it all apart and get this back out. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what you need. Again, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver. That's one tool. You'll need, I'm pretty sure you'll need a 10mm wrench, but we'll see about that one. But you'll definitely need a 10mm socket and ratcheting handle there. So first thing is first, you'll definitely need to take your grill off. It has a bunch of brackets, you know, little clips that hold the grill in place. So you'll need to take your grill off first. So I'm going to go ahead and get that knocked out. Alright guys, now that you got the grill off, you can set it to the side. The next thing they take off is this bottom trim piece, because there's bolts that bolt the headlight housing on behind it. So you can either use a 10mm or a Phillips, because it's not a regular bolt, it's just a threaded, you know, a threaded screw, so I'll go ahead and take that off. So, if I'm not dropping so, it's just a threaded screw like so. And just set that up there. And then I'll take that off. Now with that piece that I just took off, there's this clip right here. So I used my flathead screwdriver and got in here and pushed right there on it. See how it's pushing in and then pulled it out. Alright, next to take off is this corner light. Let's go ahead and take that off. There's actually one screw that holds it in and then it pops out. And that screw is up here. It's a Phillips on both sides. Let's go ahead and get that out. Alright, so there's actually 4 bolts that hold this in. You got 2 nuts. Well, I guess that's, yeah, you only got 2 nuts and 4 bolts. So you got 1, 2, you come over here, then you got 3, then all the way in there. That's why you gotta take this one off. And then you got that one right there. So, those are the 4 that hold it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking those out. But first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unplug my ballast cable connector to from my light, and get the rest of this stuff disconnected so that I can get everything out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that shit done. If you saw what I did right there, I actually had these my LEDs, because I have an LED, orange LED strip right here and a halo in there. I have them wired in to my corner light via just these little connections. I'm going to do a better connection later with some, quick disconnects in case this ever happens again and I have to, for some reason, take this out. So, now on to getting the headlight assembly out. Alright, I got the 2 nuts off, the 1 bolt and 1 bolt down here. It should slide out. This is my switch cable for high-low function. And it's out. So, on to the other fun part, which is actually yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, so now that it's out, what I'm gonna do is I gotta take these metal clips off around the headlight. There's 4 of them, 2 on top, 2 on bottom. So that just makes it easier for you. Well, you got to take them off anyways, but you take them off before you put them in the oven, before you put this in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and get those popped off, and then we'll be inside. Alright, we're back inside. If you have a wife and you don't want to get things messy or anything, you got to bake this in the oven or use a heat gun. Baking in the oven is the easiest method for me. But it's as simple as, laying some aluminum foil down on a tray, setting the tray with the headlight into the oven. Now what you want to do is, I already have mine preheating, but it preheated to 270 degrees. Once it reaches temperature, put it in there for 7 minutes. You don't want to put it in there too long because, things can start melting, and you don't want that. So, just 7 minutes. Take it out, check it, and then what you'll use is some type. I use actually a butter knife, you know, a cheap butter knife. You don't want to ruin any good ones. And I go along the edge and kind of pry a little bit. But definitely be careful with our 3rd gen 4Runners. Because, especially on these headlights, because we have glass headlights, you don't want to be chipping away the glass or break it. So be careful. I'll make sure to film the process that I go through around the edge. So once that is preheated and whatnot, then I'll put it in the oven. Until then. Alright, and she goes in. 7 minutes. 7 minutes and I'll be back. Alright, it's time to pull this baby out. Alright, now that you got it out, I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the table, just the headlight housing. I'm going to be wearing these gloves because this is going to be hot. And we'll start working our way around the edge. The main reason to put this in the oven is to loosen up the glue so you can pull the headlight housing off. So let's get to it. See how it just kind of pulls up? I don't know if y'all can see what I'm filming. But yeah, just kind of get it in there. And that's it, guys. Set that to the side. And now you have your housing, which would normally be chrome, with the headlight housing off, and obviously not with this bracket. So, time to take the shroud out. And that is as easy as this washer on the back side. Well, it's not a washer, but it's a locking ring. It just screws on. So now to get that off. So that's the locking ring that actually squeezes this together. This is that ring that goes in place that I taught you before, that actually locks it in place, that actually prevents it from like rotating or anything like that. So that's the ring. This comes with that H4 DS2 kit, or D2S kit. So there's that ring. There's also going to be this rubber seal for the inside. I actually have mine wired in, so it's going to be kind of a pain to show you everything. But like I was saying, when you get this off, you're going to have that cone in there. There's going to be that cone, you know, on the inside. And coming through will be two legs. They'll bolt in right here. You have a screw here and a screw here, and that's what will attach that cone to this housing. You'll take out those two little Phillips head screws. You'll take out this little Phillips head screws, which is actually that little spring-loaded flap thing that comes over and locks the old bulb into place. And then once you got that out, then you can literally take your new projector, your Morimoto projector, and you take that and you put your little you put your seal ring on it for the inside, you know, to keep out all the dust, dirt, and contaminants. So you'll have it like that. You'll literally stick it through the hole, so that's will go in. Once you got that, you'll take your lock ring, and slip it over the end, like so. Get on there. So as you can see, that prevents the projector from actually turning. And then you'll take your ring to tighten it down to make it nice and snug so it doesn't fall out and vibrate and all that stuff, and you'll tighten it down and get it as snug as you can. Once you got that all tightened down, you put it back in the oven, and then you put your you'll put your glass back on. But if you're gonna go with a shroud and an LED, if you have a halo, if you want a halo inside your shroud, make sure to put your wire your halo through, and there's a little hole, which is basically a small little window that you can feed your wires through in the stock housing. Now I have my I have biax on, so I have high and low function, so that's what this, I fed this through the individual cables and then put them back into this end piece. This is the halo, and then running, you see this wire running over here. This actually, I cut a hole or drilled a hole right there at the top corner, right here at the top corner, and fed wires through. So it basically comes out right through there on the back side, runs down, wires in, soldered them into this section to come out to 2 wires, to just a positive negative, and that goes to my corner light to power my corner light, halo, and my LED strip. So, I mean, the projector retrofit is pretty easy, especially on the 3rd Gen 4Runners if you get this kit. It's not really that expensive. I think all in all I spent a little over, I think about $300 for the projector, the shroud. I bought an eBay hid kit for $50, $55 for a 55 watt kit, and it lasted me about a year. Little over a year, and then I ended up buying the Morimoto's 55 watt kit with their brand new harness. I used the sub harness because the standalone harness wasn't working for me with my fog lights. So basically it was weird. It was turning one high on and one high off. Yeah, it's some weird stuff. So, but I'm gonna finish what I was gonna do, and then I'll get back to my regular video. Alright guys, I got the shroud JB welded back on. That was my main issue. But start getting your projector put in. So that would consist of taking your projector, taking your gasket, sliding it over the projector like so, then sliding this through while also feeding your wires through. There's a hole back here, I'll show you where it is. It's actually already in the headlight housing, but it's back there. You can kind of see light shining through it where the wires are running, so you just feed your wires through there. Push this through. Once you got your projector through, that's what the back side should look like. Go ahead and turn it to where it needs to be, and you'll get your ring. Slide it over. And you'll get it in there. So once you got your ring in there, just kind of get it in place. Just work it all the way in there. Take your lock ring, your lock nut. So you're going to work that so you can get it as tight as possible. Once you do, then you're practically done, and you just have to put it back into the vehicle. Of course, if you have any accessory lights inside your housing like I do, I wired them up and you connect them to the power source that you want them to be connected to. This will, and then this extra, if you got the same housing, same projector that I did, which is the Morimoto H4/D2S projector, which basically works perfectly for this housing. Then you'll have your high-low biaxon wiring right here in this plug. So I'm going to go ahead and get this nut tightened the rest of the way down, and then I'll meet you back out the car. Alright, one more step before you actually take it back out to the truck, and that is to put your glass back on. Push it on as much as you can by hand. Well, it's all going to have to be by hand, but as much as you can while the glue is soft. And then take it, put it back in the oven, warm it up. You don't have to do 7 minutes, but warm it up for a good 3 to 4 minutes just to soften the glue back up so you can squeeze it back together. And at that point, put your metal clips back on that go around the headlight, and then the headlight goes back into the car. And then once you're all done with both headlights and you've got it all set, I like to go to a if it's daytime and you want to set your where your lights sit and everything, try to go to a parking garage and go to, if they have a basement level, go to the basement level because it's typically dark down there, and point your headlights at a wall. That way you can see where your beams are hitting, and then set your headlights accordingly to where you want it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get this back.
Alright, once you got your headlight out of the oven,
get you some gloves. And then take your metal clips. And here's a tip with your metal clips. If you can see that, your metal clips, you're going to want to clip it to get it on the glass side first, and then push it over onto the plastic housing. Because if you try and do it the other way, you can chip the glass, and you don't want to chip the glass. Okay, she's all done. Put back together, but if this is your first time doing it, then you have a retrofit. Last step is to put it back in the car and install whatever head kit that you bought for it, whether it be a 35 watt, 55 watt, whatever brand it may be, Philips, Morimoto, or more expensive brands. But hopefully I went over these things good enough for you to see everything, and explained it well enough, especially since I'm not starting with a stock housing right now, because I obviously didn't film this when I did my initial retrofit. But with that being said, hopefully I explained things good enough to where you understand, and showed you what I was talking about well enough so that you guys can undertake this project on your own. Yeah, like I said, when I did this, it was a couple of years ago. So when I purchased everything, I bought it on eBay versus their site, which saved me a little bit of money. All in all, everything's great. I love the light output. I mean, it's so bright, and the cutoff is clean. I have mine set to where it's basically on low beams. It's cut off right on the edge of people's trunk lid, so it's not actually going into their eyes and stuff with the lows. But the brights, that's a whole nother level. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and again, hopefully I explained things good enough. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will definitely be sure to answer them to the best of my knowledge. If you like the video, make sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You know which buttons I'm talking about. So until next time, guys, peace out and never look back.